On today's episode on WarpDriveM, we are going to start tackling the BMW 7 Series problems right from the BMW dealership, because I have to take some parts. I'm going to pick up the parts now and we are going to drive home and start fixing that 7 Series. Now that we have all the parts in here, I'm going to show you at home what we have. We are going to take the Warpmobile, which is the Peugeot, the shop car for now. And it's working great, really great. I'm happy with this car. I know it's a piece of crap, but a lot of space, a lot of room for parts, wheels and everything. And works like a charm. So let's drive home now. And let's fix the 7 Series. Back home now, back with the 7 Series. I think I have all the parts in order to put this car back together, and we are going to put this car back together in this episode. I'm going to shot just step by steps, and you will see the end result on this job, and we will have separate videos on how to do stuff like water pump and stuff like that. Anyway, in here we have all the parts. These are the breather hose from the engine, and we have the new ones in here. These two ones are the only ones that are not the original BMW. In fact, these two pipes are the vents for the engine cover. Okay, we have those. We have the new handle. This is the part number for the handle. Yep, this is the handle for the hood latch. We have that in here. We have some O-rings and this leaky hose, and I wanted to show you the original. Oh, here the original hose is in here. Looks pretty damn okay, but in here, let me try to focus. Yep, see how it's leaking in here, but I'm not really sure if the hose was leaking or the water pump, and that's why I didn't want to risk that. I've ordered the hose as well, because I've noticed on the water pump this. See this line where my finger is? I'm pretty sure the water pump was leaking. See, this line was leaking and the hose clamps in here. And then, like I've said, I'm not really sure the water was coming from here, from the water pump, on from the hose, and that's why I've bought the water pump and the hose, because I've noticed for the fact that this water pump was leaking on the axle. Maybe I can show you somehow. See that? Right in there, those marks. Yeah, on this shaft there is a bearing in there, and it was leaking in there, and you can see here coolant. I have the water pump in here. I have new belt. I have the pulleys belt. The pulleys are in here. This is the tensioner pulley, I'm pretty sure. Yep. We have gaskets for what? Let me try to see. This is for water pump. Yep, but I have another one somewhere in there. So I have more gaskets, and we have in here the cover gaskets with new bolts and everything for both banks, of course. And the most important part is this one. This is the new alternator. It's a refurbished one with a new gasket, of course, and we can start plugging everything back together and put this car back together. Let's start now by fixing the hood latch. I've put the cable. Maybe you can see. I've put the cable. We have to fix now 3 Phillips screws, one in here, one in there, and another one on top. I cannot really put the camera in there. And after that you will have 2 smaller screws. These are the longer ones, and these are the smaller ones, and the smaller ones you will put the OBD plug onto that bracket, that plastic bracket. Everything is installed, put back together. I've locked the hinges in the engine bay. Now let's see. Yep. Now let's install the alternator first. We have the alternator in here with a new gasket. This is the part number for the alternator gasket. And now let's do this. We need like 6 bolts if I'm correct. With that in place now, this was the easy part. The hard part is to reinstall the pulley that is fitted on the alternator, and you will have two 13mm bolts from underneath, and there is almost no space in there. That will be the trickiest part. Anyway, but now I'm going to install the water pump, and after that all the belts and whistles all the belts, pulley, and the other small stuff. And on the water pump you will have just one bolt that is a little bit longer, and that goes on top in here. That's the longest one. You cannot mess this up because there is a guide in there. See that right in there, and you will put the longest one in there. And for this pipe you will need to replace the o-ring, and I have the o-ring in here. This is the water pump gasket and that o-ring, and I think I have a number for that. Just a second. Right in here. Yep. Now let's search for the water pump in this mess, reinstall that, and we're closer than ever to start the car. I'm not sure where I've left you. I've installed the alternator, the water pump, but I have to take out the water pump once again because it's missing a hole. It's kind of strange, the hole from the water pump to the alternator, it's not there. The place is there, but it's not drilled. I have to drill that out. And I've noticed that we have another leak, water leak. See that? This was a big leak. And this hose is from the expansion tank, which is in here and goes right in there. Let me try to put the light on. Right in there, and check how much leakage was in there. I have to clean that out, and goes in here as well. And we have the new hose in here. If you want to see the part number, is right in here. Of course I took out this piece, and I just waited to receive the new part, and that's why I put it just like this, because I didn't want to have something on the engine. I've noticed that we have a broken plastic tab in here for the cabin filter. We have a new one in here, and this is the part number. Okay, that's here. And basically I have everything in order to fit everything back and to start the car, in order to see if the electrical problems are done and fixed. And I hope everything was because of the alternator. And this one is a pain in the ass to remove, because you have two screws from back in order to take this pulley out. The pulley itself, you can take it out from here, from the front, with a T50 I think, but there is a support that holds the pulley, and under that support you will have another 10mm bolt in order to take the alternator out. And in the back there is no space, almost no space at all. There are two 13mm bolts in there, and those two bolts took like 3 hours in order to take those out. And sadly I don't know any other method to take those out, just to go under the car, remove the sway bar link. And because this car has adaptive, I'm not really sure how this one is called in English, I mean, there is a motor on the sway bar link, and then it's going to adjust the car, you know, when you drive the car on different surface roads. Anyway, and you have to take almost everything out, and you still don't have enough space in there to remove those two 13mm bolts. But you will see that when I'm going to put a video how to remove and install the alternator. And I think other than that we are set. Now the hose is installed. See that I've cleaned a little bit in there as much as I could in the valley, but I don't have any access further away. It's okay. I hope we won't have any kind of leak. The hose is new clamp in there, new clamp in there with the right direction, so you can tighten or undo that. I have to put this piece back together, and the water pump is out because I have to fix this, and now I'm gonna show you why. So from the water pump you will have a pipe that goes in here on the alternator housing that is going to cool the alternator, and in order to remove the water pump you have to remove this I wanted to say something in German, this pulley from the crankshaft. And in here now, this is the new water pump and that's the old one. We have to transfer the thermostat, we have new gasket for that. But I had to drill this hole where the guide goes from the engine block because this was too small. It was just a tiny bit smaller, but now fits. And maybe you can see in here, I had to drill in here because the hole for that pipe wasn't there. So now we have a hole, and the pipe doesn't fit in here because this is a little bit too small as in comparison with the original one, with this one. I have a drill bit, this is the dimension, maybe you can see, fits snug in there, see that? And in here, check this out, so it doesn't fit, so that's why we have to drill just a little bit. And I know I can buy a new water pump, or I can send this back to receive a new one, but this one was a cheap one, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I want to start the car to be sure that the alternator was the problem all along, not everything else, not something else. And if everything works, we are going to run the car with this water pump, and we are going to check for water leaks and stuff like that. If all the hoses are not going to leak and nothing, we can change the water pump after that. But I don't want to invest money, and the water pump for this car is a little bit expensive, and that piece was a little bit expensive. And see that is new and expensive, this one is new and expensive, everything is expensive on this car. And we have new gasket in here, we have a lot of breather hose in here and here, but I had to do all of these parts in order to see if the car will throw an error for the battery voltage or not, for the alternator or not. So, we have some old coolant inside because we have to check if it's leaking or not. We have everything put back together, and let's hope the water pump is holding. Let's see now. Okay, not bad. This engine works like a charm. For now everything seems to be dry. I just have to check the level, and I'm going to pour normal water. And if it's not leaking, I'm going to put coolant. Let's see on the dash. Nothing strange on the dash. It's charging the airbag and just the engine light on the right side. But that's not complicated. I think it's fixed. We have new belts, new pulleys, new pulley tensioner, everything is new. Water pump, of course, gaskets everywhere, breather hose, the other one as well. Perfect. I'm going to check the water and I'm going to update you, but I think the problem is fixed. It's freaking working. The alternator was the problem all along. The water pump is holding, everything seems to be dry, no leaks. The cover is new on this bank. I think we've done it. I'm so happy, for real. Because I didn't knew if I'm going to be able to install the alternator, because it's for real, this is engine out job. Oops, there was a strange noise, now it's gone for a second. I'm not sure, maybe the Valvetronic motors are going to adjust, because this one you cannot adjust from here like the E series. Anyway, but everything seems to be fine. Engine is running smooth. We have pulleys, tensioner pulley belts, water pump, gaskets new everywhere, so it's perfect. And I think I'm going to close the video in here. I'm really happy because the car is basically fixed. I just have to put some small stuff back together, and the car is complete. Oh yeah, we have to go for inspection. I'm pretty sure everything is fine. And after that, should I keep this car or should I sell it? This is a big question. Drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know. Anyway, if you like this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, as usual, thumbs down. Until next time, see you later.